All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to continuing coverage from Super Bowl 60 and Radio Row with Miguel Gurwitz and Rolando Cantú, who will be the voices for Telemundo for Super Bowl 60. Hi guys, how are you?
How are you? Thank you for having us.
You excited for the game?
Super excited.
Yeah.
Super
Oh
excited.
yeah, I mean this is our second Super Bowl together. We're the team that handles Sunday Night Football in Espanol, and obviously whenever you get a chance to call the game on location, it just amplifies the whole week, and we're very blessed to be here, man.
Yeah. What do you think of the matchup? What are you guys thinking so far?
Well, who would have thought that Sam Darnold and Drake May would have gone against each other, right? For Super Bowl. I love it. I think the storylines. A lot of people are like, "Hey, it's not exciting." It is exciting. I think once you have a son, Darnold, they kind of went through the carousel teams, the non-opportunities he had with coaching, and then you see him find the right fit, and you see him flourish, and then you say, okay, well, this is what's going to go on for this year. You're going to see a Seahawks team run the ball for first, and then kind of run, the play action, bootleg nakeds off of that, and then you're going to see a great defense just kind of mesh together, and that's what you've seen from the Seattle Seahawks. I love the storylines for the Seahawks. Obviously, being an NFC West guy where I played at and kind of following those teams really closely.
With the Cardinals.
With the Cardinals, yeah. You can just see the level and the intensity the Seahawks just started with off the bat. And for the other side, I mean, Vrabel, I've always liked Vrabel as a player, knowing the way he handled his things in Tennessee with the Titans, and then having this great opportunity, Miguel, to come back and become the head coach to where he played at and won Super Bowls. I mean, it's been a wonderful year for these Patriots.
Yeah, you have great storylines on both sides. Mike Vrabel going back to the Patriots. Mike McDonald, he's calling the defensive plays. He's an extraordinary defensive mind. I think it's going to be a great matchup. Of course, if you see the Seahawks, you're gonna say, okay, they're favorites, and they are. They are. I think that defense is great, but I think people don't think about these two teams were top 5 in offense and defense. So I think it's going to be a close match.
Yeah. I have yet to find one person say they think the Patriots are going to win.
Maybe a Patriots.
I mean, this is feeling like this would be a massive upset now.
Yeah,
At least the way people are talking about
it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and there's pressure whenever you're the favorite in the NFL, and you kind of look at those storylines as a coaching staff or organization. You might get a little comfortable, like, hey, we got this, but you never know. Super Bowls have always been a surprise. It could always come down to the last possession. But then again, you have this team who has not protected Drake May through the playoffs, who's had, their left side is really struggling with Will Campbell and Wilson, and you're like, how are you going to do it against this front? Because this front's not gonna go well if Murphy's there and Leonard Williams and the DeMarcus Lawrence of the world. These guys are going to get after the ball, but you need one more game, and you start that by game planning, and if the script goes well and you get a little bit more confident after the second, third drive, then you can actually think about, like, hey, we can run with these guys. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Obviously, the weather, I haven't really checked it, but I don't think it's going to be a factor here like it was for the second half of the AFC game, where everybody kind of thought, well, hey, the Patriots hung in there, but they did a decent job.
This is in Denver, right?
Yeah,
this is Denver.
They did a
they
decent
had 2
job.
games with weather,
horrible
weather.
So it can go either way. I think for sure, and we spoke on opening night with a couple of players on both sides. One of them was DeMarcus Lawrence, a 12-year vet, and he was just like, hey, we have total trust on the offensive side. Sam Darnold's got this offense going. We need to handle our business. How do we do that? It starts with the front guys. And once those guys get rolling, it's really hard to stop at defense. So he also mentioned, like, hey, it's the Legion of Boom. It's no longer the Legion of Boom. It's the dark side. It's us. It's us gelling together and kind of moving forward. So there's a lot of interest and not, I don't want to say storylines, but there's a lot of, like, within the locker room situation, these guys are really pumped up to kind of just get the game going.
Let's talk about growth of the game a little bit. Obviously, the NFL is just a massive, massive entity, but you've been around Telemundo for a very long time. Can you talk about the growth of the NFL within the Hispanic market?
It's been huge. I think the NFL has done a great job in trying to expand the league. Now we have games. They're going back to Mexico, but you have games in Ireland, in England, now we're going to have Paris. I think the NFL has done a tremendous job over there, and Rolando can tell more about this, but the NFL in Mexico is huge, huge. It has been a long time a great sport, and now a lot of people say, hey, there's NFL in Mexico. No, there has been NFL in Mexico since, what, 20 years? 25 years?
No, there's been NFL games for the longest time, but people don't realize that they've been playing American football in Mexico for the past 100 years, pretty much. So there's a full college system. I played at Tec de Monterrey with the Borregos, won a couple national championships. And your average crowd back in then, it was around 15, 17,000 people that would show up for a college game, which is very similar to, Division 2 maybe in the States and stuff like that. But for sure, I think with them announcing the game coming back to Azteca, obviously they had to remodel it for the FIFA World Cup. And I think that just benefits. There's only one stadium that can actually allocate the checklist per se for the NFL, which is Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. But the people are anxious, man. Are like, hey, let's keep these games coming. Outside the U.S., Mexico is the second largest market that consumes NFL. So obviously they look south of the border, and there's a big fan base down there.
Yeah, you were the first to go through the collegiate system there and actually make it to the NFL. Do you see a different level of pipeline that is happening in Mexico now, where there might be more Mexican players?
I think so. In recent years, we've had two Niner players, Alfredo Gutierrez and Isaac Alarcón, go through the IPP program, the International Player Pathway program, and obviously when I go down and do my kids camps, my personal kids camps, you see sometimes like raw talent. Like, I wish this kid had a opportunity to play varsity high school in the U.S. because he would flourish with it. So some Mexican kids do have the size. They have the will to do it, the energy, the character to play American football. But it's about getting exposure. It's about getting scouted. I think the pipeline is still the IPP. We do have other kids that have now started to go from the high school level into Texas, into the Rio Grande Valley, maybe a little bit more north, maybe San Antonio and Houston. But you can find some studs out there, man. Sometimes you're like, oh, this kid runs a 4.3 and he plays cornerback. Somebody should turn around and look at him.
How about having the games? So you've mentioned it a couple of times. I was with the Commanders. They played the first ever game in Madrid this past fall, and now they're going back to Mexico City. How important is it for the games to literally be played to help grow the game?
It is. It's really important. It's really important. We don't know if in the couple of years in the future we're going to have more players from international programs. We don't know that because, as Rolando said, it's difficult. It's really difficult on the high school level in Mexico and in the world. It's really difficult to develop talent. But at least you need to put the brand over there, and you need to make like more noise about the NFL in other countries. So, as I said, I think the NFL has done a tremendous job expanding the game all around the world.
What can the NFL alumni do for international players who have played in
the league? I'm sure if you take any NFL alumni, their knowledge, the way their stories, right, of course, how they got to the league, how they handled their business while they're doing their career. I think all those stories just kind of pump up everybody in Mexico and just kind of motivate them. I've had the opportunity to take over 200 current and former NFL players, some off of the Cardinals alumni program, and once we go down there, it's a different vibe. It's actually engaging one-on-one, and it's not only just a 2-hour camp. It's something that comes from the get-go. You're immersed in the culture. You get the carne asada, the guacamole, the cabrito. All the food and stuff is really good. But once you get on working with one-on-one from maybe like an offensive lineman from Tec de Monterrey or from la Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León, and you're like, this guy is 6'4", weighs 305 pounds. He's a center. I mean, maybe he can work on his English skills, but other than that, this guy, if he was in the right situation, maybe he'll get a shot somewhere in the States. So that's what motivates me every year to go back to my city, Monterrey, and I've done it, Mexico City, Hermosillo, Peñasco, all kinds of cities throughout the Mexican Republic, and it's actually really cool to watch and kind of just inspire those kids down there.
Miguel Gurwitz, Rolando Cantú, you'll hear their voices on Telemundo as they call Super Bowl 60 this weekend. You'll hear his voice on the World Cup as well this summer. Congratulations, guys.
Enjoy
the Super Bowl.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.